Welcome to the Wild Crone Wisdom podcast with your host Vinutha Mohan. In this episode, we explore why so many of us find it easier to give than to receive, and how learning to receive with grace can deepen our capacity for connection, compassion, and balance. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to give, and yet how hard it can be to truly receive a compliment, a helping hand, a moment of kindness? We might smile politely, nod in thanks, but inside, something rests. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Life, as we know, comes in waves. And right now, for me, it's the season of giving. I'm currently the primary caregiver for my elderly mother, who needs a lot of love and attention. I'm also an avid gardener, and between my indoor and outdoor plants, there's always something or someone that requires my care. Then there are human milestones: weddings, births, engagements, funerals. They seem to be unfolding all around me, each one asking me to show up, to celebrate, to grieve, to support, to offer my best wishes or deepest condolences. And as I reflect on this season, something remarkable stands out. We humans are actually quite good at giving. Most people I meet, whether in my practice, at gatherings, in my neighborhood, or while traveling, are kind, generous, compassionate. We have, it seems, an innate capacity to give to others. But here's the paradox: we often struggle to receive praise, to receive kindness, to accept help, to let ourselves rest, to believe we are worthy of care. Why is that? Throughout human history, the concept of self has often been tangled up with selfishness. And depending on where we are from, that shaped how we relate to giving and receiving. In collectivist cultures, like those across the Middle East, South Asia, and East Asia, we are taught to put the needs of the community above our own. Choosing oneself can feel like betrayal. Self-sacrifice is often idealized. In contrast, individualistic cultures in the West prize self-sufficiency. You are taught to stand alone, never ask for help, to be tough and independent. Vulnerability can be mistaken for weakness. And if you are a good Christian, you might even learn to martyr yourself for others. In both systems, receiving care can feel unsafe, unfamiliar, or even shameful. Over time, this becomes internalized as a quiet belief: I don't deserve this. Even today, with all our conversations around self-care and self-compassion, many of my clients still look puzzled when I mention self-love. What does that even mean? They ask. Women often struggle more visibly with this than men. But let's be clear, men aren't immune either. They just wear their resistance differently. We all have our receiving barriers, shaped by early experiences, core beliefs, and emotional wounds. For some, it's a self-critical voice that whispers, "You're not good enough," making it nearly impossible to let love in. They armor themselves with giving and avoid the vulnerability of receiving. For others, it's a deep fear of abandonment, creating a need for constant reassurance. No amount of giving or receiving feels enough, like trying to fill a leaky bucket. And for those with attachment trauma, receiving can feel downright dangerous. They're longing for connection, but also a deep mistrust of it. They might reject kindness before it can even land. In the powerful memoir, The Girl with Seven Names, Hyun-Seo Lee shares her harrowing escape from North Korea and her long, painful journey toward freedom. One of the most touching moments comes when a complete stranger, a white man she has been conditioned to fear, steps in to help her during a critical moment. She is stunned. After years of betrayal and secrecy, she can't believe someone would show up for her without wanting anything in return. That one act of generosity cracked open something profound. It didn't just help her logistically, it changed the lens through which she saw the world. For the first time, she began to believe it was possible to receive kindness without suspicion. She learned slowly and with courage to receive with trust. Recently, I shared with some colleagues about a group I facilitate. In it, we gather in a circle and offer our fullest attention, love, and presence to one person at a time. That person simply receives for a full hour. You would think this is a gift, but the initial reaction is usually panic. Even my fellow therapists, people who spend all day giving, told me they would rather run a mile than sit in the center and receive like that. And it's no wonder. Our professions, cultures, and personal histories rarely teach us how to receive with ease. And yet, when we don't learn how to receive, we burn out. We grow brittle. We begin to give from an empty well. One of my early mentors taught me something beautiful. She said, when a client thanks you, they are giving you a gift. Honor them by receiving it with grace. Don't deflect. Just say, thank you. That advice changed the way I practiced. It reminded me that receiving is not passive. It's an act of honoring the giver and the gift. Giving and receiving are like breathing. Exhale, inhale. If you only exhale, you run out of breath. You can't give endlessly without taking in too. We must learn to do both, with balance and with grace. As Brené Brown wisely says, we can only love others to the extent we love ourselves. And I would add, we can only give fully when we have also learned how to receive. So today, I invite you to try this small practice. The next time someone compliments you, pause. Don't rush to deflect or downplay. Just breathe it in. Let it land. Say, thank you. Receiving well is not selfish. It's generous. It makes our giving richer, deeper, more sustainable. The world needs both. Your open hands and your open heart. Let's breathe together. Let's give with generosity and receive with grace. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Wild Crone Wisdom with your host Vinutha Mohan. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist from the Bay Area, California, specializing in trauma and attachment repair. I'm also a certified EMDR specialist and a certified shamanic practitioner. In this podcast series, we delve into the journey of our spiritual essence having a human experience. While many social scientists study human emotions, thoughts, and behaviors, and others explore transcendental experiences, few bridge the gap to help embody the spiritual wisdom in everyday life. I call this the psycho-spiritual path. Through this podcast, I hope to share bite-sized practical insights for navigating life as an empowered sovereign being. If you found this episode valuable, we'd greatly appreciate your support. Please consider rating, reviewing, commenting, and subscribing on your podcast platform to help us reach a wider audience. You can explore more of my writings on Medium by following the link in the show notes. We'd also love to hear about your experience, so feel free to share your thoughts with us at Wild Crone Wisdom Podcast at gmail.com. Thank you for being part of our journey. Please be advised the information provided in the Wild Crone Wisdom podcast is intended for general information purposes only. Vinutha Mohan is a licensed therapist and healer. However, the content shared in this podcast does not replace or constitute professional advice, therapy, or counseling. It is essential to consult with a qualified mental health professional for personalized guidance regarding your unique circumstances. Thank you.